Today, the host, who, let's pray for her. She lost one of her dear friends. We know that during this pandemic or plague, a lot of people are getting taken from us, and we can just, have a moment of silence for Tony Staten. And one of our lawyers from our law firm lost his daughter. This has just been a trying times, and it lets us know that we need to stay close together as family. So let's have a moment of silence and prayer. Today, we have an interesting guest. We have Robin Cooper. She's the president of Local 502. She's the president of Local 502. She's the principal union president, and they have to deal with a lot. They have contracts upcoming. They have to deal with COVID. They have virtual school options that kind of change their contract. So we like to be on the cutting edge of information. So, Robin, welcome. Robin?
Thank you, Ryan. It's good to be here.
Hey, listen, it's good. It's really good to have you on at this time, so our guest audience could actually hear what you're going through. Now, as we were in the green room, we were discussing the virtual option and how it almost takes you away from your school building. Could you explain that and expound upon that for our listeners?
I can try to the degree possible. So, if you are a parent and you are not quite ready to send your child back to school, then there are some options you could take for the virtual learning. You can sign up for the virtual learning school program, which means your child will be learning remotely. And after it's time for your child to return to school, if they go to a neighborhood school, they will be allowed to return. However, it's really up in the air. I haven't gotten an answer back. We raised the concern about what about if it is a special admit school. If it is a special admit school and you choose that virtual option, your seat is no longer available for you once you decide to bring your child back for in-school learning. So
let's look at this, because we have to make it real for the people, Robin. So your son or daughter, they study, they do everything. They get into mastermind. So you're not quite ready. You don't believe the science. You don't trust the science, or you don't trust that your child will be safe around other children. So you say, look, I'm going to take this virtual option. When you come back, that spot at mastermind will be gone?
That is my understanding. That is my understanding. We asked the district to really think about that and to really make certain that when that information is out, that parents are aware that if they are saying yes to virtual school, then they're saying no to a return to where their child previously attended. We think that presents some real issues, because you're not really giving the parent a choice. So you are basically saying, if you choose this option around safety, then we will remove your child from this list, and a child on the waiting list will be permitted to take that seat.
Now, what about continuity? When they go to the virtual option, are they still having the classes in that school just simulcasted to them?
No, the virtual seat, it won't be like it was in during the pandemic. It will be as if you chose virtual schooling. So it will be your child will attend virtual school. So they will get all of their lessons virtually they will have their own virtual school children. They will not be on the roll for their regular school.
So, Robin, I'm having a hard time understanding, with technology being almost, it isn't, I wouldn't call it cheap, but it's very affordable. My son, who was in the 8th grade last year, he goes to a suburban district, I won't name it, but when he got sick, we decided to take him and get the virtual option, but essentially they had a camera in his classroom, so he learned the same thing that his classmates learned. He took the same test that his classmates took. Obviously, there was some stricter guidelines on him when he took the test, that he couldn't move up, he couldn't move his hands, he couldn't look forward, to make sure that he didn't have assistance in that. And I actually liked it, but he was learning at the same pace as his classmates, because they just put a camera, and the camera live streamed the class with a special unique password for him and anyone else who had it virtual. Why can't the school district do that?
Well, I think what happened was it was becoming too taxing on the teachers, because the teachers were trying to run in-school learning and also the virtual school learning as well. So they were trying to do two things at once, and the virtual piece is a piece of its own. And so if you don't have those additional supports, and we probably could have it now if that was the plan, given the stimulus package that was given to the district. But currently the new plan is the child will sign up. If you're not ready to come back to regular school, in-person learning, then your child can sign up to virtual school. Our concern is we want to make certain that parents are aware that if they go to a special admit school, choosing this option could lead to long-term ramifications.
Well, listen, you just said the stimulus that the school district got from the federal government and some emergency COVID funding from the state government. What's the size of the stimulus that the school district received?
All we know is that it was $1 billion. We're not sure how many people are a part of that, but our understanding is it's $1 billion.
Yeah, I heard it was 1.2 billion. That's for capital expenditures to kind of deal with the physical plant so that you can have safer schools, which we all champion. So you also in the middle, your contract expired, right? When did your contract expire, and how is it negotiating in the middle of a pandemic?
Our contract expires the 31st of this month. And so we are currently at the negotiating table, and it is our goal to have a contract. We are knee-deep into contract negotiations, so we're optimistic. We are optimistic. As you know, our administrators kept the district afloat during the entire pandemic. I have never been more proud of my union members. This pandemic, they rocked. When it came time to getting the children Chromebooks at home, you know, we lobbied Comcast. When it came time to really make certain that they had what was needed, be by way of food, we were out delivering, making certain that our children have food. Our facility coordinators have been in buildings, making sure that the buildings are clean and ready for children to return to school. So we are optimistic that the district will do the right thing when it comes time to come up with an agreement, because again, during the pandemic, most of my folks operated as volunteers. So around the city, while folks got 3%, 4% overtime, hazardous pay, whatever it was, I need you to remember that my union, Local 502, Teamsters Local 502, we did not receive those luxuries. And I don't want to say luxuries, we're talking about hazardous pay. If you were essential worker in the city of Philadelphia, you received hazardous pay. My folks were treated as volunteers. So we are really hoping that, or we know the community knows that we work hard and folks are out doing what they need to do and really have been self-taught during this entire pandemic. So we are hoping all of those things will be taken into consideration and make its way into our contract as a thank you for some of the things that I just mentioned.
Well, Robin, could you, I know I mentioned the school principals because that's who have the effect on us, you know, that we know, but who else do you represent in the administrators in the school district? Who's all a part of your bargaining unit?
The principals, the assistant principals, climate managers, FACs, which are facility area coordinators. They take care of a lot of the issues at mold, asbestos, trying to coordinate things in preparation for school reopening. We represent early childhood, prevention, intervention. Our prevention intervention people, they work almost 24 hours a day. When there's a crisis, these are the people that the city, that the district calls on. And I'm talking about especially around the gun violence. They have been instrumental. They have to be on call. We represent a great deal of people, maintenance schedulers, anybody that's considered a manager or supervisor, first level manager or supervisor for the school district we represent.
That's a daunting task, and they're very essential. The climate managers essentially they handle the climate, and my ex-wife used to be a climate manager, so I know the job fairly well. So Robin, talk about the safety.
Tough job, Ryan.
I know it's a tough job. Tell me about is there any fear or trepidation about the safety of the schools going back with the variant? I mean, we thought we were out of the way. We had really good numbers. We started opening things up. Now we have a Delta variant. How are your members communicating to you about the Delta variant?
Well, I think we're all fearing the unknown. Our folks have been working, even in some cases when it was against, you know, they worked. They worked throughout the pandemic. They worked worried about their safety. They are still worried about their safety. And one of the things that we have to get out of is when you're worried, then that means you don't care about the children. My people are concerned just in regards to this Delta variant, and you know, we just started relaxing the rules. So we've moved from 6 feet to 3 feet, and we don't even know if it's possible if the 3 feet, if we're going to be able to maintain a 3 feet distance. So we're watching things very carefully. We want children in school. We know they belong in school. So we absolutely 100% agree with the district with that. Our children need to be in school, but we're watching things very carefully because make no mistake about it, safety comes first.
Oh, yeah. I tell people this every day. The biggest job that I have as a union leader is to make sure that my members come home safely, because it's not a given. And we have to be vigilant when it comes to safety. And I guess, Robin, I just want to talk about the climate of urban education and the funding for it. How can we help to get the funding so we can actually have adequate facilities so it can be safe? I know $1 billion sounds like a lot, but being a construction guy, knowing the needs is no money.
Right. When you're talking about, and people tend to think that in Philadelphia, oh, the schools don't work, this is broken, that's broken, this is, but the piece is, we take exception when you say broken. We think we do an extraordinary job given less than extraordinary supports, especially around finances for the city of Philadelphia. So when the funding is not adequate, so when you think about the job that folks are able to do despite a lack in funding, then we think that we are pretty much doing what needs to be done, but you can't do anything without the necessary money. And then you have to make certain that the money hits the school level. So when you are talking to me, Robin Cooper, president of Teamsters Local 502 CASA, I am going to talk in reference to making certain that money hits those schools, that money is for those personnel, it's for supplies, it's for just those human resources, because when you add a number of levels downtown, that doesn't necessarily impact the school in a direct way. So when we fight, we're fighting for the money, to get the money, and then once we have the money, to have processes in place to ensure that the money goes directly to the schools, because that's what's happening in schools now. You have people doing 3, 4, 5 different jobs. And so as opposed to properly funding the schools, school-based personnel need to be inside schools. And that's not only for the protection of children, but so the teachers can adequately teach and children can adequately learn.
Yeah, it's basically no substitute for smaller class size. And to have smaller class size, you need more teachers, right? And then you need more support staff to pull them out. You need reading specialists. You need climate managers to make sure that the lunch is handled properly so people can feel safe. Yeah, there is no substitute for personnel. And that is right. And as we move forward, at some point, we're going to have to understand that the new civil rights is how do we appropriately fund education? Because what happens is everybody's in this equity moment, right? Everybody want to say equality, equality, equality. But we can never have true equality of the funding of education if in the suburbs we're going to fund a kid at $29,000 a year, and in the city we're going to do that same kid.
With their lack of funding, I had great teachers. So I get annoyed when people write off the city of Philadelphia because we do great things in spite of, but we shouldn't have to do it in spite of because it gives other districts head starts, and I mean serious head starts, and then we have to play catch up to get children where they need to be, but then we shame the victim when we're not really addressing the fact that it's inequitable funding.
Yeah, I mean, I would never, no one should argue the fact about inequitable funding. As I say, it's math. Math doesn't lie, right? One thing about math, it tells the truth on you, right? So as you look at math, it'll tell you that the historic disinvestment in schools have made it worse. Listen, I'm a product of both parochial and Philadelphia public schools, and I've had great teachers in both, and they've done me right. I've had some teachers in public school who absolutely just made me love math and science. I've had teachers. So teachers play a vital role in our development and our growth. But what we must do is not demonize people that aren't getting funded properly, right? And those numbers are public figures, and we can't say, oh, they're making excuses. Hell no, they're not making excuses. It is what it is. If I give you, you can't buy the same car if I give you $25,000 if I give you $50,000. It's going to be a difference in the car you get, period, point blank. So it's a difference in the quality of the education that you get, because we can have dedicated reading specialists so that you don't, so that we, when somebody start falling behind, we know it, and we aggressively get on it early. Everybody cares. Everybody cares. But it's like, what do you have the money to care about?
Right. And that's why it has been so key for us to really rally in a public way, in a major way, to engage the school board, engage our community stakeholders, engage our religious communities and our business leaders in this whole dialogue around education and this stimulus package, and hear firsthand from the people on the front line that we need a say in what occurs, especially as it relates to operating the school and this stimulus package. It's ever so important.
Troy, did I hear you say we need a break?
Yes.
Oh, yeah, we got to go to a commercial break to pay the bills. Again, this is Labor's Live. You have Ryan Boyer hosting, and I'm with my co-host today, Robin Cooper. So let's go to break.
Build skills needed for employment through the Philadelphia Skills Forward Initiative, a free upskilling program for workers displaced by the pandemic, those whose jobs are at risk for automation, and Black and brown workers. Complete courses focused on digital literacy, career management, and professional skills for a successful career. Get started today at chamberphl.com.
Kamasi Washington brings his fall tour to the Met Philly, one of only 6 dates on the East Coast. Don't miss Kamasi Washington October 20th at the Met Philly. Tickets on sale now as of July 30th. Tickets available at Ticketmaster.com.
Jefferson Health offers no-cost COVID-19 testing sites at St. Raymond of Pinafort Church. Testing is on Thursdays and Saturdays. A second testing location has been added at Richard Allen Preparatory Charter School. Testing is on Wednesdays and Fridays. For testing hours and more information, visit jeffersonhealth.org/community testing.
In Philly, COVID-19 vaccines are safe, free, and effective. It protects you from contracting the COVID-19 virus. Vaccines do not change your DNA or contain microchips. Caribbean people are not immune to the deadly virus without COVID-19 vaccine shots, and it does not affect your immigration status. Join us for our back-to-school COVID-19 vaccination resource fair on Saturday, August 21st from 11 to 3 p.m. at Sturgis Recreation Center in Alany. Free food, school supplies, and vaccines. Visit www.caribbeancommunityinphiladelphia.com, Facebook or Instagram page.
My mother was always very active and independent, and she was familiar with her neighborhood. But one day, she stopped at the stop sign for much longer than usual. She wasn't even really sure where she was at.
It's important for you to talk to someone about it. I felt so much better after my son told me, Mom, we'll figure it out.
When something feels different, it could be Alzheimer's. Now is the time to talk. Visit alz.org/ourstories to learn more. A message from the Alzheimer's Association and the Ad Council.
WURD TV. We're streaming live video of this conversation right now. Tune in on YouTube at onWURD or on Facebook at FORWURD. WURD TV. Black Talk Media.
There you are.
There I am. We're back. We're back to Labor's Live, having a very important discussion about educating our children. I think the education of our children is the most solemn responsibility we have, because we are training the next generation to be leaders for us and to lead this world better. And Robin Cooper and I, she was just talking about the advocacy work that they do to try to bring more money to this system. Could you speak about that, Robin?
The advocacy work?
Yes. Because people think you just have a day job and you have that luxury of just going and having grievances, but they don't understand the behind the scenes when you have to go to Harrisburg and convince Republicans who really don't like us why it's important to educate little black and brown children from Philadelphia. That is the hard work. That is the job.
And that is a large part of the job, Ryan. We do all kind of advocacy just to make certain that we're able to be heard around what's really going on in Philadelphia, because we believe that around other parts of Pennsylvania, they just think, oh, it's just wasteful to even give Philadelphia money. And we constantly say we are doing more and more with less and less, and we can't continue to do that. What people don't realize with my members, most of them are working about 5 jobs. One person for 5 jobs. So the funding is so important. So when we're able to carve out time, we are in Harrisburg. We are lobbying Harrisburg and telling them some of our situations in Philadelphia, so they know that the money is not lost. If you put the money, if you allocate the money correctly, and you give Philadelphia an equitable formula. So all this conversation about Philadelphia, it has never been properly funded. And that is important for the public to know. So our fight is around getting adequate funding based on Philadelphia. And outside of that, we just bring all types of groups together so people know we're not somewhere squandering money. We want people to know that we invite people. As a union leader, I invite people. Come with me to school board meetings. Come with me, because we want people to know that we know what to do with the funding. We know what to do once it has been allocated. Once it hits that school level, it just makes everything a lot. It improves the operation of your school, and you can watch teachers teach and students learn. So the advocacy is there every day. And like you said, we don't just do grievances. That's one part of the job. I thought that was the job. That's one part, one small part.
You get a sad awakening. And also, I don't want you to ever get off here without talking about alternatives to college. I always like to say that I don't believe that college is for everyone, but post-secondary education is absolutely for everyone. We just opened up our training facility on Broad Master Street. We're very proud of it. And we have been prodding Dr. Hyde.
We're still waiting for that invitation to...
Well, you have it. You have it now, so you let me know what day is good for you, and you can come. Because what I see is we have gotten away from vocational training. You know, I have a sister-in-law who had her business. She went to Dobbins, graduated with her cosmetology license, and ran a successful business for over 20 years. She's a very success story that we need. And all of a sudden, now they don't do that anymore. It's not good enough. Because we have to have, it takes all types, right? In this service economy we have, we need to train people for the jobs that we have at University of Pennsylvania. Some of them don't require a college degree. So we need to be on top of training the next edge, not just construction, but everything, all types of vocational tools, advanced manufacturing.
I think you're absolutely right, Ryan. And I think if we don't fight for our CTE schools, the CTE schools were never meant to be like a regular comprehensive school. The CTE schools were career and technical education. And so the more we scale back those things, we're not giving children a true opportunity to come and really realistically learn a trade, where if I choose not to want to go to college, what is there for me? So I have the choice. Nobody is pushing any children in any particular direction. The child is making the choice. But what if we change the CTE schools, what do our children have? Dobbins is an excellent example. Their school, they do wonderful work, from technology to the cosmetology to the barbering. So if we begin to whittle away at those programs, what do we have? So if we don't engage the public,
they need an advocate, Robin. I think that when you look down the administration of offices in every school district, you have a bunch of people that have gotten where they've gotten by going to academia. They went to university. So I think they have a bias towards the university. And I think that we need to make a way to have other voices in that room, other success stories that are many times, I tell a story, and it's a true story, and people that know me, they're going to know the names, so I won't use the names. I have a dear friend, and his sister's a dear friend. He's an electrician, no college debt. Last year, he made over 130. She's a lawyer. Last year, she made about 130 as well. But guess what? She has over $100,000 in student loan debt. He has zero. So who has the better economic life, right?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
And so they're both successful. They're both success stories. But it just lets you know that you can get there multiple ways.
Right, and I think we came from the generation where you prepped the children to go to college. It was that one way. You prepped them, you got them ready. You either went to college or you didn't. And what folks realize is you have all of these, like you said, multiple ways of earning a living. So if we don't really change the mindset and really have something for everybody and every piece of the pie, and this is why we need the public to really pay attention with those CTE schools, because when you have a small group of people who are making decisions on CTEs, not really understanding what CTEs are all about, not having a background knowledge, but having been given a supervisory job over that, and then you begin to whittle away at what makes a CTE, then over time, we're going to lose out with our young people in Philadelphia, because they're not going to learn a skill in which they could be successful if they choose not to go to college. But if they don't have that skill, they've lost out all the way around.
I one time know a CTE program who's the head of the CTE program was a PhD. I said, if someone goes to college and they become a PhD, God bless them, but that tells me something about their life's philosophy, that they believe in learning through education at the university, because you don't become a PhD unless you really believe in that model. And now to put that person over CTE, it's going to be a complete and total culture clash, because the CTE is basically saying, listen, we know that Bud and Tasty Cake aren't here anymore. So now those kids that don't go to college, instead of going to Bud, They're going to Walmart and they're not earning a family-sustaining union living like they did at Bud and Tasty Cake a generation ago. Back in the day, you could have a high school degree and work at Bud and work at Tasty Cake, and you could live a great life, get your little single-family home in New Jersey or the suburbs, send your kids to college. You could do that. Now, that is gone.
I think we have to begin, if it is CTE, then you need like-minded people, again, who understand, and in some cases, they may have the PhD, in some cases, they may not. And I guess I'm thinking of one of our recently departed members who just accepted a job somewhere else, Dr. Tony Damon. Dr. Tony Damon was the proud principal of Morrell Dobbins. But at prior to Dobbins, she was a successful business owner of a hair salon. So she absolutely knew and had what it takes. If you don't get people like that over all CTE programs who were successful business owners, who really walk the walk and talk the talk, I agree 100%. We have to have a variety of people where you know what you know. Me personally, I can't run a CTE program because I don't know enough about it. I've learned enough about it for somebody who's literally walked the walk and really understands. So when you say, I know a couple of years ago we had an issue where none of there was some kind of proposal that was put on the floor that the children could not have any sharp objects for their barbering kit. Well, if you are in a CTE school, you need to have those sharp instruments. But when you are shortchanging and say, well, the kids are going to do something bad, they're going to do this, they're going to do that, the question is, well, what are some things to put into place? First of all, don't think so poorly of our children. Second of all, when we set the parameter, I took wood shop in middle school, not the same thing, but I remember listening intently to the teacher saying, if you get too close to this, you're going to cut your finger off. So I paid close attention. I kept my goggles on, and I made sure my finger stayed away from sharp objects. So all of a sudden, it's just this decision to take away all sharp things that barbers need. Well, then you don't have a barbering program.
You don't have a barbering program in the real world.
Outside of the folks who are actually in doing these things. So you need to have construction people. You need to have welders. You need to have barbers. You need to have cosmetologists. If not, if folks in the room don't have these people at the table, it's always going to go south.
I agree, because what needs to happen is they need to make sure when they graduate, all the professional licenses that they need, they have. That should be a part of the requirements of graduation. If you're in a cosmetology program, you should come out as a licensed cosmetologist. If you're in a construction program, they should have articulation agreements with every major union that you go into somebody's apprenticeship program. And you go in as a second-year journeyman apprentice so that we can just create pathways out of poverty. And it's really not that hard to do if we just focus on it, right? And you can't have a culture where people think the absolute worst about children. If you think bad about people, they'll do bad. We have to make them rise to the occasion. I am 50 years old. My aunt, I have an aunt that's 76 that graduated from Dobbins. So Dobbins has been in business doing this for a long time. I have not heard of anyone getting cut with a razor or stabbed from sharp objects. So we just have to put that out of our mind, the worst case scenario. That's fear-based, and it only happens to us, right? It's only, oh, we can't. No. If he wants to be a barber, if she wants to be a beautician, the only way to cut hair is to cut hair. And it's got to be sharp because you have to cut it. You can't cut it with a dull tool. So,
but I think, Ryan, this is what happens when there is a misalignment between the actual school and who is in charge of those. See, I'm really talking about some of the changes you can't do in a vacuum. You have to bring people. I can't tell you how to build a house. I need a construction person to tell me that. Yeah. So if I'm making these decisions based on what I know, then something is not going to go quite right. And before you know it, then you have programs that are shutting down because you're not going to have real, true blue people who do this body of work. They're not going to stay around and watch their program just be torn to shreds.
Yeah, they're trying to eviscerate the programs, and you're right. The people that know what they're doing, we have to, and this is where we have to have a little advocacy within the parents and go to the school board and say, listen, Dr. Such and Such is a fine administrator. They know academics really well, but this person owned her own business. We need to make sure that she's in control of CTE, because what she knows, he doesn't know. What he knows, she doesn't know. But let's put people in the proper lane and not think that all of these skill sets are transferable because they have, quote unquote, all this education, because the most learned person knows what he doesn't know. And I think that we have to refocus and redouble our efforts on training for jobs of not just here now, but jobs that's going to be there. Like it is almost a sin that we don't have coding in the school right now. All these coders are needed. And in the tech space, they don't care if you have a degree or anything. They just care that you have the skill, because they have to get things to market quick, because in technology, things move at the speed of light. So you have young millionaires, could be 27, 30. It's not, they are really agnostic to age, to gender, to color, to race, anything. Whoever has the skills can get the job.
And I think that's what we have to promote. We have to promote what's out there. We have to ensure that us unions and alongside the district, that we work to bring the partners to the table so we really can create opportunities for our young people to be able to get out here and to get these jobs that are out here and are available. You don't know how many times where I've sat and I've heard about truck drivers training. From the Teamsters have truck drivers training all of the time, and then you're pulling, trying to find children, young people, or there are UPS opportunities, and in some cases, there's tuition assistance. So you're trying to find things to help for our children to get into the market and to begin to learn and to make money and things of that ilk. And it shouldn't be where it's 1 or 2 union leaders, or at the most 5. There has to be pathways where there are actual think tanks where stakeholders are brought to the table, and we can actually partner with the district to ensure the integrity of programs so that all of our children, not just college bound, but all of our children, like you said, have multiple pathways to success. When I look at Instagram and Facebook,
hold that thought. We got to go to break so that we can pay the bills right here at WURD. So we're going to go to break, and just hold that thought, because you're right. Instagram and Facebook, remember that. Go ahead, Troy, go to break.
Now, a traffic update on WURD Radio.
Good afternoon. Watch for an accident now on the PA Turnpike. It's westbound near Willow Grove. We've got the left lane blocked. The area is jammed up. A couple of accidents on the northeast extension. Northbound, it's a crash between Lansdale and Quakertown off to the side. And we have an accident on the southbound side in that same stretch, and that's also off to the shoulder. Accident cleared out of the way. 95 northbound at the Betsy Ross Bridge, but delays are still with us. Back to the Vine Expressway. More delays 95 northbound between 452 and Highland Avenue. Schuylkill eastbound heavy. Montgomery Drive to South Street, westbound backs of University Avenue to the Vine and City Avenue to Belmont. Report brought to you by Smart Mouth, the only 24-hour mouthwash with twice daily use. Big interview, you check your suit, your resume, your palms, but wait, did you check your breath? Get Smart Mouth, the only mouthwash that provides 24 hours of fresh breath with just 2 rinses a day. Find Smart Mouth in the mouthwash aisle at CVS, or get 20% off at smartmouth.com/radio. And for more traffic information, log on to sigalert.com. I'm Jason Lee with your Philadelphia area traffic.
Stand with WURD, the only black-owned talk radio station in Pennsylvania. Did you know that you can join the FORWURD movement and amplify voices of the black community as a digital member for as low as $5 per month? Visit wordradio.com or call 215-425-7875.
Get in and get seen at the Einstein Orthopedics Fracture Care Clinic. If you think you've broken a bone or have been told by your doctor that you have a fracture,
The Einstein Fracture Care Clinic offers same-day, in-person, or telehealth appointments. We don't just give you peace of mind. Einstein Orthopedics provides answers when you need them. Visit einstein.edu/fracturecare to learn more.
This Word Wellness Vignette is brought to you by Keystone First. Word Radio presents the following wellness tip to support our listeners with mindfulness and motivation.
This is Halana, your resident expert health and wellness coach, with tips to help you stay well. Today, we're going to talk about the importance of finding a new way to be social. So, we now live in a world where socialization has changed significantly, and we have to be creative on how we maintain and grow our social networks. Health and wellness also means having a healthy social life. Many of us get so wrapped up in work responsibilities that we forget to connect with our loved ones and friends. Finding a new way to be social can look like this. Schedule a weekly check-in with your extended family via telephone or even video chat. Number 2, write letters to your friends and start a new pen pal group. Take it old school. Number 3, use technology for you. Create a group chat for your close friends where you can share highlights and funny moments throughout the day. Finding a new way to be social is something we can all do to support our overall health, personally and in our communities. Go ahead and try it today. Stay well with Word. Happy, healthy living.
Stay well with Word. Connect with us at wordradio.com. This Word Wellness Vignette was brought to you by Keystone First. For more information, visit KeystoneFirstPA.com.
Wake up and text. Text and eat. Text and meet up with a friend you haven't seen in forever.
Hi.
Oh, hey. Text and complain that they're on their phone the whole time. Text and listen to them complain that you're on your phone the whole time. Text and whatever. But when you get behind the wheel, give your phone to a passenger. Put it in the glove box. Just don't text and drive. Visit StopTextsStopWrecks.org. A message from NHTSA and the Ad Council.
WURD TV. We're streaming live video of this conversation right now. Tune in on YouTube at onWURD or on Facebook at FORWURD. WURD TV. Black Talk Media.
We're back on Labor's Live. I'm Ryan Boyer, Labor's District Council Business Manager. I'm sitting in for Tony State, and I got a guest host today, Robin Cooper, who's dropping bombs. She's dropping jewels. She's the insider's insider. She is dropping bombs. Talk about that Instagram, Facebook, and how many people they need to run those huge enterprises.
So when I was talking about the Instagram and Facebook, I'm just talking about the skill set that our young people are using. And so what happens is they are becoming entrepreneurs in their own right. But how about they become entrepreneurs because we have programs that are set up to assist and to guide them. That multimedia platform is a sight to behold, and our children are learning it. They are surpassing. And these are things that we need to actually have programs that are set up, because that's an up-and-coming field as well. So it's a number of things, a number of supports that we can have in place to assist children as they figure out what is their passion, what do they want to do, because like you said, not everybody is cut out for college. Not everybody wants to do that. So where do we go next to ensure that for these children who are, I'm thinking of, we did a gala a few years ago, and Dobbins, I hate to use Dobbins because there are so many just great CTE schools, but Dobbins was my go-to school, and they made us beautiful banquet books. They were beautiful, top-notch banquet books, and we always use union, but we try to really give the children a play because they're learning their craft.
I think that's union too.
Absolutely.
When you learn something, and you have them in the graphic arts and the graphic designs. I know how much we spend for books and just graphics and to tell the story visually. That is an important skill to learn. And is it a marketable skill in the real world? You look at political commercials, you look at political content. There are people making millions and billions of dollars by learning how to tell a story graphically. And if you learn graphic design and graphic art, all you have to do is look at a television show that's slickly, professionally produced versus one that's raw, you know the difference. You don't know how to do it, but you know you like, that just didn't look finished, because that is a skill that is necessary, it is marketable, and we need to support our children. Listen, because if they don't do it, you have schools coming in to fill a gap. Crystal Ray, they're meeting with every major corporation. What do you need? We're going to give you people. They have a co-op model, and it works. But, you know, we banquets, you know, there is always room for banquets and learning how to run a banquet facility. So when you have those dinners, I went to one at Bach years and years ago where it was totally produced and catered by the students at Bach before they closed down. It was wonderful.
And you think about how powerful that is, but the question is, why did it close down? So if our market is showing that our children need these opportunities, why are we moving and going in different directions? Or why are we trying to turn CTE schools and programs into regular comprehensive schools when they were never meant to be that? So a few years back again, we said, or not we, the district said, well, we're going to open up CTE schools to everyone. So CTE schools should be open for people who want that program. That's very different than just opening up to say, Joe Blow can go to Dobbins, Joe Blow can go to Randolph Skills, but Joe Blow doesn't want to learn barbering, graphic design, doesn't want to learn cosmetology. It's a school that you write your application based on what you want to do.
It dilutes the product. It was a group, I don't know if they're still around, it was called Community in Schools, right? They used to have the best banquet at the Crystal Tea Room, and it was various schools of all the CTEs around the city, and they would compete. So you would go literally across the globe. Like one school, they may have Japanese food, another they have German food, and you walk around to all the food stations and you essentially judge. And it was a beautiful, I don't know what happened to it, but we used to be a sponsor and we got a ticket, and it was like, it was really, really good. It was, and because you have to learn by doing. You have to be the mind. You can learn theory all day, but until you get an opportunity to apply your craft, get constructive criticism, constructive feedback, that's how you become very, very good at it. And you can become good at a very young age.
You're absolutely right.
Now we got to go back to the education part, right? What happened to, I know that every neighborhood school used to have like what they call a motivation program. So you would have a neighborhood school, but you would have within that school an academy that was an elite academy designed to make people go to college. I'm thinking about Franklin Motivation. I know people that got out of there, got full scholarships, and are doing great things. I know that Overbrook High School had it. I went to Roxborough High. Ours was called High Tech, where we were a heavy focus on math and science. And we were so tight in math that I think that I may be a part of a class, 1989, Roxborough High, a class of maybe 150. We probably have 20 engineers out of that class, almost unheard of. Right now, Drexel, Rutgers, I know them. They're my classmates. About 20 engineers now out of that class, and I think about 20 people in finance. So that early focus on math and science pays dividends, and now we're all 50. So what happened to that, and what can we do to bring that back?
Well, I think we have to. I think what happens is when each leader comes into the city, each leader comes in with their own programs. And so, again, if we lose all of our historical knowledge and we don't bring stakeholders around the table. I'm a consensus builder. I like for all divergent thinkers to be around the table, because I believe that's how you get the best product. We all don't know the same things, so when we bring people from different walks together, it's powerful. But when you are when you don't really know the background, so I think what happens in Philadelphia, we continue to chip away at the historical knowledge until there is none left. So, you know, again, if there's no understanding of CTE schools and what they're supposed to do, boom, you look up, CTE schools are gone. Everybody's on the track for just reading and math. Reading and math, we want them all to go to college. We want them all to, but I already know, and I've known since 4th grade, I'm not going to college. Excuse me, Mr. Boyer, what do you have for me? So I already know this. So you are pushing me in a direction. It's not going to be successful. Now, should you push them all to high levels? But I think we have to do more where there's an interest. You have the academics, but the academics, and then to see with their passion. I just believe that you teach in accordance to what the child has indicated may be something that they may be interested in. And of course, you may need inventory scales to kind of determine that, but you can't give everyone the same walk. You can hold everyone to the same high standard. So really, to answer your question, I'm not quite sure how you bring back all of the magic that we may have experienced. I'm not sure how you do that, but I think we have to really start by bringing stakeholders to the table and involving them in a meaningful way, so that
that's the point that I'm gonna take. We have to bring the stakeholders in. I got that wrap-up signal. This hour went by so fast. When you have someone that's really knowledgeable and really passionate, it's really hard to contain those conversations in this hour time span that we have. But WURD, I'd like to thank you guys for giving us a platform to talk about anything we want in the community. And listen, have a great and powerful weekend. Laborers Live, signing off. Thank you.